So you're thinking about selling your property and curious, when is the best time of the year to do it? Will there be times that are more advantageous than others? Of course there are, and it could be the difference between selling quickly and easily for way more money than what you thought, or not even selling at all. My name is Ryan Gillard. I'm a local realtor here in Calgary, and this video is all about when is the best time of the year to sell your home in Calgary. I'll be taking a deep dive into this and going over everything from seasonality, market trends and conditions, to migration, and so much more. Now, if you're watching this and could use some help, please reach out. You can call, text, email, or even comment, and I will get back to you. Let's get into it. So let's start with the seasons, the easy topic first. You know, obviously Calgary is a northern city. We have long winters, unpredictable weather, and it can definitely have an impact on our real estate market. And so it shouldn't come as a surprise that the busiest time of the year in terms of sales, like the best time, would probably be the spring market. But that's not always the case, like it is right now. I'm filming this early March, and you can tell from my opening video, it's pretty nasty outside. There's probably 15 centimeters of fresh snow. It's minus 20 out there. It's quite miserable. It doesn't look like a great time to be selling a home, but I can almost guarantee you, if you were to list your home right now versus delaying until the spring market, you'd probably sell quicker, easier, and for more money. So it's not always about the seasons, but let's start with the seasons just to get a general sense of how the market moves in Calgary. So I'll actually pull up the numbers here just so you can kind of see what's going on. So looking at the actual numbers, to answer the question easily, the best time of the year to sell your property in Calgary is the spring market. There is the most amount of sales that time of the year. If we look at what happened last year, 4,091 sales in March, 3,400 in April, and 3,000 in May, and roughly 3,000 again in June. That was the busiest time of the year. And so why is the spring market the busiest? You know, it's pretty self-explanatory. You know, homes, they do show better in the spring and the summer. You know, obviously the snow is gone. There's longer days. There's just better curb appeal. Like the flowers, trees, and shrubs are all in bloom. And the big one is that a lot of people want to buy in the spring and then have possession in, like, say, June, July, August, because they want to get their kids settled before school starts. So that is typically why the spring market is the busiest time of the year, but not always. Again, if we look at what happened last year, 2,000 sales in January, 3,200 in February, and 4,000 in March. Usually March is a big listing month, but it's not a crazy sales month. Like usually April, May, or you can almost guarantee they're busy months. But if you were to list last year in January, February, or March, you would probably get over asking price, unconditional offers and stuff like that. So it's not always about the seasons. You have to factor in the market conditions. A lot of people who delayed until the summertime last year, the market leveled off with all the interest rate hikes. So you have to watch what's happening with the market because it can definitely have an impact. And so if we compare it to this year, so January of 2022, 2,000 sales, only 1,200 this year. So this number is actually pretty normal. And same with February, 1,740 sales. That's actually a pretty good month in Calgary, but there was 3,200 last year. So again, January and February are not known to be great sales months, but you have to look at what's happening in the market. There's so many people moving to Calgary right now that the market conditions can override the seasonal nature of the business. So it's one thing to keep in mind. So the one drawback with the spring market is, sure, there are more sales, but there's also way more competition. Everybody waits to the spring market to list their property. So if we look at what happened last year, if you're a seller, would you prefer to sell in a month with 3,300 sales, like in February? So 3,300 sales and 3,600 active listings? Or would you prefer to wait until May, where it's warmer, and have 3,000 sales, but 5,200 active listings? I know personally I would prefer to do it in February. So that is the one drawback with the spring market. So let's talk about the summer months now. I find the summer is just business as usual. It's not the busiest time of the year, but it's not the slowest time of the year. The one thing I'll be mindful of is that the inventory levels increase from January until June pretty much. That's a very constant pattern year after year. So if you're listing in the summertime, you're going to have elevated inventory levels. And so you'll see a lot of homes left over from the spring market that didn't sell. So they're either priced incorrectly or not quite as desirable. So there may be more active listings out there, but if you price your home well and it's like staged well, it's prepared for sale, it doesn't matter too much. I think you can still sell. There's still a lot of sales numbers this time of the year. Like you can see your 2,800 sales, 2,200, 2,100. So you just have to make sure it's priced right and prepared for sale. If you're watching this in the future and you are someone that had your home on the market during the spring market and it didn't sell, please reach out. I'd love to help you out. Because you missed the spring market does not mean that you can't sell during the year. And so that's what I would say about the summertime. Another misconception about selling in the summer is that you can't sell during the stampede. It's ridiculous. I'm busy every single year during the stampede. And if we look at last year, there were 2,200 sales. They can't all sell in like a week. So these are selling throughout the month. It doesn't matter too much that the stampede is going on. In the summer, there will be peaks and valleys because of events like the stampede or holidays and whatnot. But there's still plenty of sales throughout the summertime. Again, if you look at August, 2,100 sales. So it doesn't matter too much that there's summer holidays and vacations and whatnot. The summer can be a great month. And so let's move along to the fall market now. Again, I find the fall can be quite busy. People are back to their normal routines. They're back from vacation. And the one good thing that I've noticed with the fall market is there's more urgency. If someone lists their home in like September or October, November, they generally want to get the job done before year end and before like it gets too cold and the snow starts to come. So it can be a good time to sell. There's a decent number of sales. If we look here, 1,900, roughly 1,900 September, October, and then 1,600 in November. Not as crazy as the spring market, but if you look at the inventory, it's dropping off quite fast. 4,400, 3,800, 3,100. So there are less sales, but there are less homes to compete against as well. So the fall can be a good time to sell as well. So let's talk about the winter months now. And there's a lot of false information out there that say if you miss the fall market, you have to wait all the way until the spring market. I think it's totally false. I'm filming this in early March, and I was run off my feet December, January, and February. It's been extremely busy. So I think it's incorrect to say that you have to wait all the way to the spring market. The one good thing about the winter months is, sure, it's true that statistically it's the slowest time of the year in terms of sales, but it also has the least number of active listings. I find real estate is best described by supply and demand, and nothing wrong at all with selling with, we look at December, 1,200 sales and only 2,200 active listings. Again, that ratio is not all that different than, if we look at May, 3,000 sales versus 5,200 active listings. So it doesn't really, I don't think the time of the year really matters all that much. If you price it well, it shows well, you can sell in any month of the year, including the winter time. Now, if you are watching this video in the future and it's coming up on the holiday season and you're curious about selling, but you're maybe thinking about waiting, I actually have a video on this topic, the benefits of selling during the holiday season, which you can see right here.
So it might come as a bit of a surprise to you that I'm talking so positively about the winter market, but I'm a firm believer it doesn't really matter what month you're in because there are always plenty of people buying and selling due to personal circumstances. Life gets in the way. People are having babies, they're upsizing, downsizing, there's death, inheritance, income changes, job relocations, migration is a big factor right now. There are loads of people moving here from Ontario, BC, and even internationally. There are just a million reasons why that there's always people buying and selling in any market. And if you are thinking of selling, I have two videos that might be helpful. The first one, how to sell your home quickly. And the other video is called how to prepare your home for sale. I think both will be helpful if you are thinking of selling your home. And again, please reach out if you are. So we spoke about the seasons. Let's actually narrow it down here. Let's talk about what day of the week is actually best to list your property. This might sound a bit silly, but I think it can make a difference. If it were me, I would list a property like late in the evening on Wednesday or Thursday morning. So what happens when you do that is the listing gets circulated to all the buyers out there. Like all these buyers are on automatic searches, so it gets sent out to them, and they don't all view it all at once. So that takes like a day or so for them to get it. So it gets circulated, and then they load up on showings on, like, say, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then you can look at offers at, say, Monday. Now, this is more predictable in a hot market like it is right now. There's hardly any inventory. So again, if you price it right, it shows well. You can follow this strategy, and it can make a big difference. I would try to be out of the home and just okay every showing from Thursday until Sunday, and then look at offers on Monday. You can still follow this plan in a down market, but it might take a bit longer to sell it. Again, right now the conditions are pretty good, but that's what I would do if I were listing a property. All right, so let's talk about the market conditions in more depth. And I think market conditions can override any seasonal aspect of the industry. And by that I mean, like right now, it's early March. As you saw from my opening video, it's a snowstorm outside. It doesn't appear to be a great month to be listing and selling a property, but I can almost guarantee you that if you were to list right now, it would probably sell quickly, easily, and probably for more money than waiting for the spring market where it's like, say, plus 20 outside and the home shows better. So I think if you were to wait, it would just take away equity and you'd have more competition. So that's why I would say that you have to keep an eye on what's happening with the local market trends, because it can have a bigger impact than the conventional seasonality of the business. So let's take a look at this in more depth.
So what I'm talking about, it actually happened last year as well, and it was even more pronounced. Between January to March of last year, which aren't known to be fantastic selling months, were completely out of control. Buyers were going nuts, doing ridiculous things. I don't recommend it. I heard some stories of buyers offering $200,000 over list. There were plenty of offers over list price, unconditional offers, sight unseen. It was a crazy time, and I bring this up just to show you that market conditions can override any seasonal aspect or nature of our business. So it's a good idea to keep an eye on it. Now, if we look at the actual numbers, you can actually see why it got so crazy. In January, there was 1,146 sales. That doesn't sound like a lot, but there was only 898 active listings. In February, 1,896 sales versus 1,691 active listings. Now, if we look at what happened in the spring, so let's look at a month like May. May is typically one of the most popular months to list and sell a home. There was actually only 1,600 sales in May versus 1,896 in February. And there was way more active competition, 2,500 listings versus 1,691. So based off these ratios, if I was a seller, I would definitely pick January or February over April or May, which is against the norm 100% for sure. So you have to keep an eye on what's happening with the market conditions because, again, it can override the seasonal nature of the business.
All right, so I'll touch on a few other ideas here. So everyone knows that Calgary runs off oil and gas. It can both positively and negatively affect our real estate markets. It doesn't matter too much what month you're in. They can be a big driver in terms of what happens, again, positively or negatively. If we rewind to say 2015 to 2020, we were in a bit of a recession. The oil and gas sector was really struggling, and it definitely had an impact on the Calgary real estate market. I bring this up because I would meet people in, say, October that wanted to sell, and they would always delay for the spring market. They felt they couldn't do anything between like October and like April. It drives me nuts. I get this all the time. And I'd have a seller that would use me. They'd be okay listing their home with me, and they'd be fighting me on $1,000 of commission. But they would gladly let the market take away 5% of their equity in the meantime by delaying for the spring market. So the answer to the question, when should you sell your home if we're in a recession, is immediately. Don't wait for the spring market. Just price it right, get it prepared for sale, and get the job done immediately versus the market taking away that equity from you. So in terms of timing, when to sell your home, I think it's also a good idea to keep an eye on what's happening with migration. It can be a big driver in terms of real estate sales and rental prices. Right now, Alberta is on everyone's map. It seems like there's tons of migrants coming here internationally and from other parts of Canada as well, specifically from Ontario and British Columbia. And again, it's driving up the prices. So if you are thinking of selling, keep an eye on that because you can really take advantage of the conditions. There's not a huge amount of inventory and lots of people are struggling to find homes. So if you're looking to sell, now could be a great time. Now, the opposite happened in 2016. I recall it was a pretty nasty recession and a lot of people left the province and it had an impact on falling prices in the real estate market. So if you're a seller and you're keeping an eye on migration, you can probably get ahead of that painful process of listing your home and having multiple price drops to try and sell it during a recession. So it's just one thing to keep an eye on is what's happening with our migration levels. So the last point that I'd like to make is when to sell your home if you're also hoping to buy in the same market afterwards. So this can be a bit tough right now. Calgary is in a seller's market. There's not much inventory. So selling won't be the problem. That should be quick and easy, but buying could be a problem. So what I would do is I would try to make sure the listing response is as hot as possible. So I would have it, priced well, shows well. I'd be out of the house from say Thursday to a Sunday. I'd okay all the showings. I would look at offers on Monday. And what you want to do is try to create some kind of bidding war, which again, there's not much inventory, so it should be fairly easy to do if you've done everything right. And you want to get the buyer to kind of go with your terms. So I put there in the listing itself, I'm looking for a possession date out into the future. Like right now is March, so maybe look out into like September or something like that, just to give you time to buy a property afterwards. But you can also say in the write-up, I'm okay amending the possession date if I find a property sooner. So you're trying to take advantage of the situation by getting the buyer to be okay with your terms. And then you're hoping as time goes along that you can find a property for yourself. So it is a bit risky, but this is the only way that I know of to handle this situation as best as possible. And that's to push out the possession date. If it's a nasty buyer's market and you're on the market for 60 days, you might not be able to force the buyers to okay your terms, but what you can do is to have the best response possible so that you've made the playing field more in your favor. What I would also do is I would be on standby. So I'd have like your realtor showing you properties on the auto searches and stuff like that. And I would talk to your mortgage broker and I'd do all their paperwork, like have them pull your credit, be honest about your income and your debts, and give them all the documents they need and ask them, how much time do you need? If I find a property today, how many days do you need to go from pre-approval to firm approval? So that way that you can pull the trigger and know confidently that you can get the property or not and what the payments would look like and all that stuff so that you can move forward as fast as possible. It's not the easiest thing to do in a seller's market, but that's how I would go about buying and selling in this market. So it's not so much about when is the best time to do this, it's more a matter of being prepared to get the job done. Thank you so much for watching. Again, my name is Ryan Gillard. I'm a local realtor here in Calgary. I hope that answers your question about when is the best time to sell your property. Again, I think it's more a matter of being prepared versus when is the actual best time. And if you're out there and you're watching this and you have any questions at all about your specific situation, buying or selling, feel free to reach out to me. I'm easy to get a hold of. All of my information is in the written description below. You can call, text, email, or comment, and I will get it, and we can have a talk about what you're hoping to achieve in terms of real estate. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.